Today we're going to be taking a look at how to accept an incoming call using FreeClimb. To do this, we're going to build a Node.js application using Express and the FreeClimb SDK, and then we're going to make that application publicly accessible to the internet so that FreeClimb can interact with it through webhooks. So if we take a look at how a call flows through this application, the first thing that's going to happen is someone's going to make an inbound call to your FreeClimb number. Now we're going to get into setting up all the configuration for this later on in the video, but essentially FreeClimb is going to know that your number and your application are associated. So then when an inbound call occurs, it's going to send a webhook request back to your application. Then your application can kind of do with that whatever it wants, but for today, we're going to have it tell FreeClimb to say hello world back to the caller. So the first thing we're going to do is go to freeclimb.com. And then we're going to log in to the dashboard. If you don't have an account already, you can sign up for one here. The dashboard has a bunch of information that we'll need, like account ID and API key, but for now we're going to go to the applications page and we're going to register a new app. Let's call this Hello World. Cool. So now we have an application registered. We're going to go to the FreeClimb numbers page. And you should already have a number. If you don't, you can buy a number here. Otherwise, we're going to click See Details on our number, and we're going to select our new application and update. Cool. So this means that any calls that come to this number are going to hit this application that we created. So now that our number and our application are both configured, we can start building out the application. So to make this simple, we're going to use the Node Voice Quick Start that's available on GitHub. Go right here and click Clone. Then we can open up a terminal. So in the terminal, we're going to run git clone and then paste that URL. So now we should have a local version of that repo, and it uses yarn, so we'll do a quick yarn install to download all the dependencies. So now that everything's installed, we can start to take a look at the code. So in this repo, there's an index.js file. This is where all of the application logic is going to live. In here, we're setting up an Express server, and we're creating this post endpoint at /incoming call. So this is going to be the voice URL that we have configured for our FreeClimb application, so that when somebody makes a call to that FreeClimb number, this is the endpoint that FreeClimb is going to make a post request to. So inside of this endpoint, we are creating a Perl script with the command say, and we're setting the text to hello world. And then in the response, we're setting the response body to be the script. So let's take a look at the README on GitHub. Down in this setting up the quick start section, we'll see we need to set up some environment variables. So let's create a new file in here called .env. And we'll have account ID and API key. So we can get both these values from the dashboard. Just copy these over. Save that. So now that we have our environment set up, we can start the application. So we'll open up our terminal and run yarn start. So now the application is running on localhost port 3000. So it isn't public to the internet at all. But since we're expecting this webhook from FreeClimb to hit our application, it needs to be running on a public URL. So what we're going to do is open a new terminal. and run Ngrok HTTP 3000. So what this is going to do is give us a public URL that we can give to FreeClimb to say this is where our app is running, and it's going to just forward all that traffic to our local host, port 3000. So now that our application's running on a public URL, we're going to go back to FreeClimb and update our application configuration. So we'll go to Applications and then Edit Config for that new app. And in this voice URL, we're going to copy this forwarding address that's HTTPS. And we'll paste it into the voice URL field. And our endpoint is /incoming call. Then we'll click Update. All right, now that our application's configured, we're ready to make a call and test it out. I'm going to be using a voice over IP client today, but you can just use any phone. So let's try it out.
Hello world.
So now that we're able to verify that our application is working, we can take a look at the logs to see what was going on. So we can see a request to application post and then the URL it was running at /incoming call. So if we wanted to see information about what was in that request body, we can see it here. And then we see a log for the response from that application. And we can see that in the response body, it said, say, hello world. All right, well, thanks for watching the tutorial. Remember that all relevant links are going to be down in the description below. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to our support team at freeclimb.com. And yeah, like and subscribe to the channel for future tutorials, highlights from conferences we attend, and more.